For the fifth part in my series on prepping your InDesign file for print, I'm going to discuss the subject of bleeds and how to create bleeds in your document. So what is a bleed? A bleed is any object in your document that extends all the way to the trim, or in layperson's terms, to the edge of the page. A bleed could be an imported image, it could be a shape, or it could even consist of type if, say, for decorative purposes, you intend to have a line of type, say, or even a letter form extend to the edge of the page. In order for our document to print correctly, we need to extend any objects that bleed beyond the edge of our document. The standard bleed is 1/8 inch, but this can vary depending on your printer and the type of document you're printing, so you should check with your printer first when preparing your bleeds. So what, you may ask, is the purpose of a bleed? Good question. For a variety of reasons, when my brochure, or just about any other document, is running through the press, it's getting printed on a sheet of paper that's larger than the actual document size. Once all my brochures have been printed, the printer will trim them out using the equivalent of a very high-tech paper cutter. If I don't extend my bleeds outside of my document, if that paper cutter misses the edge of my trim by just a hairline, we'll end up with some unattractive white space that appears on the edge of the printed brochure. By extending my bleed beyond the document edge, it allows for the printer a small margin of error so that when they trim my brochure out, even if the cut is not totally precise, we'll be able to avoid that white hairline. So let's add bleeds to our document. The first thing we want to do is tell InDesign how large we want our bleeds to be. To do that, I'll go to Document Setup, which is accessed by going to the File menu, Document Setup, or I can use the keyboard shortcut Command-Option-P. And if you don't see this bleed and slug area down here, you need to click More Options, and that will bring up this field. And I'm going to simply designate how large I want my bleed to be. And as I mentioned before, we want it to be 1/8 inch. So I'm going to enter 0.125. I'm going to click Tab, and because this chain link icon is selected, that setting applies to all the rest of the fields. And I want 1/8 inch all the way around. I'm going to click OK. And now we'll notice that this bleed guide appears all the way around the edge of my page. So now we have to simply go in and pull our bleeds out to that guide. So I'm just going to start up here on the upper left, and I'm going to grab what would be my first bleed over here, and I'm simply going to pull it over. And I'm going to navigate all the way around the edge of my document. And the next one I see is here in this blue triangle. Pull that out. And here I see a light blue box that works as a background behind this type. Simply pull out both sides of that box. Here's one that might be easy to miss. We have these transparent graphics that appear behind my type, and those also have bleeds, so I need to pull those out as well. Here's another one. She does not extend out to the left side, so that is okay there. So I'm done with page 1. I'm going to navigate down to page 2. Actually, I was on page 2. Let's go up to page 1. And I'm going to start in the upper left again and pull each of these out. I'm sure you get the gist of it now. It's easy to miss some of these, so you do have to be careful. Sometimes I'll start out with a magnified view as I have here, and then I'll zoom out and I'll just kind of assess the page in general to make sure I caught all of them, because it's important that you do catch every single one of those bleeds. And I believe that we have done so. So that was a simple lesson, and now that we've set our bleeds, we're ready to package our files for output. Or if you're working in a PDF workflow, we'll need to export to a high-quality press-ready PDF. And that's what we're going to talk about in our next video. As always, feel free to contact me with any questions at Howie@fortuitouspub. It's Howie at FORTUITOUSPUB.com, and check out my blog at InDesignJunkie.com.